Hey everybody, it's time for another stream. We are still working on the uh, the Sid song that we've been working on, Motions of Fire. And today, what we're going to be working on is exporting the data so that it can then be converted into a replayer for the Mega65. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that switched over, shall we? Oh, hey, Professor Falcon, how you doing? Glad you could make it. All right. Let's see. Get that. So the first part of the export is just get the data out of the DAW. No, let's play global thermonuclear war. uh, okay, so basically to export, what you do is you play through the song, and the VST picks up all of the events and everything, and when the song's over with, then it exports a text file of these events. They kind of resemble tracker notation a little bit. We will be looking at that after I'm done with the export. And important thing here, you see that's the loop segment. You see up here, I got looping turned on, uh, off, on. Doesn't make much difference, slightly different color. But the important thing is that when it plays through the song and reaches the loop point and then jumps back, SidStep will detect that it's meant to be a looping tune and will insert the right data into the export for that, so that basically the replayer will has the capacity for your songs to end if you don't use loop, or loop if you have this turned off. So, with no further ado, wrong, let's go ahead and get into the SidStep plugin. Now, the next thing that you do is you come in here. Well, the first thing you want to do before you do all that, uh, the instrument list has to be the same for all four of your SIDs. So let's see. Looks like it may not be. Yeah, we need to get the funked up keys and the funked up lead line. Keys. Go. So, keys. Looks good. I'm pretty sure that none of these others, well, hopefully they don't have any differences in instruments, because I kind of used up the last of that space. SID 4, or actually, okay, so it started SID 3. That's fine. Okay, so right kick, Dutch breeze snare, simple closed hat, crash, saw bass. Yeah, that all looks the same. Yeah. All right. So now that we know that they are all the same instruments, the next step is to come into, as I said, come in here, and we're going to press this export button, and it will start recording as soon as we start playing. And then when it hits the loop point, it will pop up a little thing, and we'll save a text file of the data. So, here goes nothing. And we're only hearing one channel at a time for now. Guess I don't actually have to be quiet during this. I just naturally tend to when I'm recording. It looks like we got quite a few viewers there. Hey, everybody. All right. What I usually do is in the actual project folder for Ableton. Oops, that was not what I wanted to do. In the actual project folder for Ableton, I create another folder called Export. And even though it's not official, it works quite well for me. So, okay. So that is it for SID 1. Now on to SID number 2. Everything looks good. Okay. This SID is completely silent during the intro. Just see some clips and stuff. That's pretty sick bass. I dig that. It's real simple, but And if I were to have put more effort into it, I could have crammed a lot more instrumentation in there. Because as you can hear in that, I've got all of track 9 here is just the simple crash. So it's, but I was going for simple. Uh, a lot of the time, I will push more instrumentation than that. And I guess that is one thing because I didn't go more complicated. Uh, I didn't show how you would optimize that part. So I will have to show that in the future at some point. Okay, so time to export the third part. Alright, there's the third SID. On to the last one. Alright. All right, so that is all of the data exported out of Ableton. And let's go ahead, jump over, and get a look at that data. I'll show you what it looks like. For the first SID, so it's moderately low level. These are basically all of the commands that it takes to reproduce the music. It resembles MIDI a little bit more than most trackers, uh, but uh, it's pretty recognizable data for people that are used to working with trackers. Um, and we will, if this song needs optimization, then this is where we do it, is in these files. And the way that we do it is by looking for bars that are supposed to be identical that might be off by like one frame or something. Like maybe it says 5 and 1 instead of 6 for this note off. Um, so I will, and anybody else exporting that wants to optimize would also go through all the files. And we may still end up doing that. But first, we're going to go ahead and just try exporting it as is. But see, you basically got and there, I don't use the filter at all on with SID 1, which is kind of wasteful. But that's why global commands is very short here. But if we come over to, and you can see the file is also very small. But if we come over here, you can see that there's constant cutoff sweeps going on. Um, so that is also another option for oh, hey Sparehead, welcome, good to see ya. This is another place where you can optimize. If the data gets too big, you can cut out every other cutoff row here, and it will still sound pretty good. Not as good, obviously, but so anyhow, yeah, you'll have cutoff for whatever it's assigned to. It's like in this one, I'm pretty sure it's the bass. And then after you've got all of these notes for each channel, all three of the voices, and then you've got a list. This is not something you're likely to ever want to touch. But basically it's just pointers into the bars. You're not going to want to change the number of bars or the indexes of them or anything like that. And then down here we've got the instrument data. This is, I'm not going to explain it right now. It's pretty crunchy. I mean, some of it might look obvious if you get used to reading it, and it is occasionally necessary to come in here because I have to copy, like, say, the instruments that I'm using for the second SID. They might not be identical to the first SID, so I have to synchronize them, stuff like that. We'll see what happens this time. First thing that we need to do now that we have this is we need to come over to the exporter. This is something that is downloaded off of GitHub in the same places where you download the SidStep plugin. And run it. And going to open for M65 encoding. Here, the first one. You grab them in the order that you want them to be used in the song file. Fire. And instead of exporting a PRG, it exports assembly source. It's Acme, so that you can easily modify it as you need to. So let's get a look. All right. It's almost 10,000 lines. Uh, okay, so let's go ahead and look at a few things. I'm actually going to need to change something here. To me, is this it? No. Yes. I need to start adding that to my files so that I don't have to specify anything to the Acme command line. So yeah, a lot of this stuff up here, these are just configuration options. They are things, some of it is you won't want to fiddle with, some of it you do. We're gonna want to include the stub for now. What that is it will, well, you can see it right down here. It'll attach a basic stub as well as a quick little bit of code that will just play back the song. So you can just load it and run it to test it. Stuff down here is mostly informational. You're not going to want to fiddle with it. It's just it configures the source code does a lot of complex uh, macros and optional stuff so that it leaves out functionality that any song doesn't use, etc. Um, so these are all basically just particular stuff. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with the code itself. Interface here starts at 3000. So 3000 is init, 3003 is play, and then it shows the title and the author. That's pretty much all standard stuff. Yeah, but this, it's a bit crunchy. You can see through here though, like for example, it does not if the pulse width table, basically, if it's not used in the program here, then it will exclude a lot of this code. That especially happens with commands like, it uses the pitch bend, and then, uh, yeah, it's, honestly, I don't know that I could even explain it to myself exactly everything that's going on, but it's a complex bit of code. But when you're looking at optimizing, once you've got it in here, what you actually want to do is come down at the start of the dynamic stuff, which, almost there, yeah, here we are. Here we are. Okay, so it's called S0 for SID0 global pattern list. Yeah, this we expected to be simple because as we saw here, this is all that happens in that entire list is those two commands. So that translated into this pattern, which we'll look at in a minute. Let's see, how do we do? Oh, it looks like we might be able to compile it as is without. Sometimes optimization is absolutely required. It does not appear to be the case here. Yeah, we have E0 patterns. So sometimes it will, well, this doesn't usually happen on the 64, although I've never tried to make really long single SID songs. Uh, but on the Mega65, it is possible to run out of to go over 256 patterns, which I have a modified player to handle it, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more data, so I try to avoid using it if I can. And if you look in here, you'll see there's this bit mask where it's like you can come up, and this is line 1592. If you come up here, you'll see bit 1 is delay, bit 2 is filter mode and volume, bit 4 is cutoff, 8 is resonance and routing, 10 is program change, yada, 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 yada. Now, something, so, it's 1592? Yes, it was. So basically, it has a delay, it has a filter mode volume, and it has, I believe that's a cutoff, right? No, it's resonance and routing. There's not even a default cutoff for this. So each of those bits then gets identified in the code, and then these are the arguments to them. So like this is the resonance and routing, this is the filter mode and volume, and then this is the delay. The delay is in frames, and because of the tempo, it's 93.75, I believe. Because of that, it's 80 frames per pattern in PAL. So that means that all of the delays throughout here should add up to 80 in a pattern. That's rarely wrong. I can't even remember ever seeing it wrong. Something else, let's see here. Yeah, here you go. So you see here how the delay bit is how many frames between rows. So like it's D frames that it'll be on this first row before it falls through the second. If the delay bit is off, every single row has to have a delay because all the data for that SID for that row is in that single row. There's no need to continue data for the same frame. So if it's set to 0, what that means is that it assumes a delay of exactly 1, because that's a very common delay, and this saves a lot of memory. Okay, so anyhow, that is, well, and let's go ahead and get to the bottom, and I'll show you. And also, here's the instruments have been converted into a slightly more useful, well, basically code. But again, that's stuff that you won't necessarily fiddle with too much on your own, but it's good to know that it's there. So next, let's go ahead and see if we can get this to compile. Yep, compiled. 27K, which is actually not that bad for a Mega65 tune, because you figure it's 4 SIDs, so that's about 6.5K per per SID. That's not bad. So let's That seems to be working pretty well, straight up, huh? All right. Yeah, that went a lot smoother than it necessarily does. Sometimes I have to get really involved and clean up those files, but not this time. So, um, wow, that actually brings us to the end of this particular series. Motions of Fire is finished. And that's very useful for me because I was running out of looping songs in my slush pile. And I'm probably going to need some for future games. Yeah. So, um, that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much. The song is done. The next time I stream, I am glad you dug it, Sparehead. Next time I stream, I will be getting back to the console-like intro. We did solve the problem, and so the next step will be to actually put it in front of something and get it working as an intro. I would like to thank the super cool people, Professor Falcon and Sparehead, both of whom are also joining me tonight. Thank you so much, guys. I'm really glad you were here. And then Gertchie and his family, such awesome people. The last time I talked about them, I think, and I hope I'm not making the over. I may have already made this correction once. I don't remember. But the last time I was talking about Moana, I said that I misquoted her. I had said that she said to Gertchie, "Daddy, did you know that when unicorns fart or poop, they poop rainbows?" But rainbows was not what she said, and you can even hear me messing up in my as I was almost misquoting her this time. Everybody knows rainbows fart unicorns. What she actually said to him is that unicorns poop ice cream, and that's what's going on in Unicorn. So yeah, huge shout out to Gertie and his family, and thank you everybody. Everything helps. If you'd like to help support me and become a patron, you can head on over to www.patreon.com/deathybas, as you see there on the screen. Um, it would really, really be helpful, and I'd appreciate it. Let's see here. I'll probably, since I intend to use this song in the future in a game, I'm probably not going to upload it. I may post it on the Patreon, though, as a backer reward or something like that. Um, so, all right. Um, I think that's it for now. All right. Let's get the music back up. Get everything all shut down here. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and let this song finish playing out. I don't think there's a whole lot left. It's about 3 more minutes, and then, yeah, and then we'll close the stream. Thanks again for tuning in. Y'all have a good one.